Hi, my name is Michael G and have another video. And today we're going to go into woke leftist postmodernism is the rotting of society. So, well, what does that mean? Well, I'm pretty sure some of you out there have heard of Jordan Peterson. He's always talking about postmodernism and how that's affecting society. And now we're going to give you some clear, solid examples of what they do and what they are. We live in the middle of the very large planetary scale and the micro scale. We are right in the middle. You can consider the micro scale or the quantum the left hand. And you can consider the planetary scale the right hand. So these are the two extremes. So this can also be authoritative tyranny, and down here could be chaos. Okay. The woke leftists are more inclined to chaos. The woke leftist is the Asian principle of the nail standing up is going to be hammered down. And words that are big on these woke people is equity. Now, granted, both the if you go into the authoritative, you're going to have tyranny. But this is the time of chaos is rising. I said this before, like the feminine energy, the bad part of the feminine energy is rising right now. So the masculine, this is more masculine. Now we're talking about the extremes here, and this is more feminine. So there's a good feminine and there's a bad feminine, there's a good masculine and a bad masculine. We are supposed to be in the now, here, between tyrannical thinking and chaos, a balance. And the balance for us is truth. So, what's happening today? If you notice, we had the pandemic. And the pandemic, everybody was told not to move. And we had these draconian laws implemented on us. They're not even laws. They were just these emergency acts based on a lie. And why was this? So that we can... The purpose of this was to destabilize the people in the middle. To bring the people in the middle either to the chaos or bring them to authoritarian. But they're not going to go... They're mostly going to descend into chaos, because the whole idea is to... It's kind of like to destroy the society from within. And this is on a global scale. Now, I know there are going to be some people, the big conspiracy. The conspiracy is the evil. That's the conspiracy. Evil people think the same. They use lies. Good people act the same. They use the truth. So, chaos is probability. You don't know what's happening. Things come into existence, they come out of existence. That's what happens in the quantum world. So, when you have corporations now, the very people that they're hiring are predominantly this mentality. The people that think that they're going to make billions and trillions of dollars by destabilizing the middle have a big surprise coming for them. God's not going to let things go unpunished. So as these leftists come in, they're taking out the big corporations and the big business people from within. Not too long ago, Joe Rogan was trying to they were trying to cancel him. These leftists wanted to cancel him. They wanted to cancel him, and I said this in another video, from within Spotify, because, Joe Rogan is in Spotify, and Spotify paid, I don't know, $200 million to get him. And I'm not saying Joe Rogan's right on a lot of things, but he does have a very interesting platform, and it is very successful, and it has withstood the cancel culture. So the employees of Spotify were undermining their own place of work. And Spotify finally told us, look, if you don't like it, you gotta leave. And finally they said it. My thing would have been much more brutal than that, because you're working in my company, you have your personal thoughts, keep them home. If you're here, you're coming to work, you're working for the company, or what I'm paying you for is what you're supposed to bring me, your body and your mind, not undercurrent that destroys companies. Because these leftist people will bring in more leftist people. And in the end of the day, they can't get nothing done. Because as the nail is sticking up, they're going to hammer it down. As someone is going to start to grow in the leftist, they're going to bring them back down. And that's how they operate. That's why when you watch these Antifa protests, they're all wearing the same non-identifiable clothing. And they're doing this intentionally because they're going to do something evil and they don't want to see or be seen. Meanwhile, we have the fake January 6th big takedown of the government. It's fake. These guys weren't organized. These guys all showed their faces. They're not looking to destroy. I don't care how you paint it. If you're going to have if you're going to have something organized that you're going to go and try and take out a government, you're not going to go there with your camera and taking selfies. That's not what you're going to do. But these people need to fulfill their agenda. There are more of these leftist people today than ever. 100 years ago, these people hardly existed, because everybody was working with their hands. And granted, life was tougher, but you know what? The people were more in the truth. If you look back about 100 years, what certain people done it boggles the mind compared to what people do today. Today, they're absorbed in the chaos of computers and digital fantasy. And that makes them unproductive. These people are unproductive. They can't get nothing done. They are going to be the rottingness, the termites. They're going to eat all these big corporations. We are headed back to the 1800s. That's where we're going to go. We're not going to go forward. We're going to go back to the 1800s. Because what they did now is that they tried to get rid of everybody in the middle and the truth. But you know something? It's a very complex society we live in. The complexity of the society does not just say that you can wipe out this whole population and their work and then the big corporations are going to make it up. So what's happening? The truckers are not there. The parts are getting, they're not on time. The prices for the parts, and now all of a sudden you have leaders, these tyrannical leaders that now want to make so much profit that they're vilifying Russia so that they can make more money because the U.S. LNG paid them off. And they're telling their citizens, you're not going to be able to have gas. You're not going to be able to heat your homes because we don't want Russia making the money. We want the United States making the money. Now, let me talk about Russia for a second. Do you know that the reason, and you're going to see it, if you look for this, you'll see it. The reason the Democrats, now remember, there are no party lines when it comes to war. Everybody wants war, the Democrats and the Republicans, because they make a lot of money with the defense contractors. Lots and lots of money. But the Democrats kept on saying Russian involvement in Trump. Now, I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm just not. Because Trump lies. He tells lies on both sides, and then whichever sticks, he says, look, I told you so. That's Trump. So, don't think that I'm putting him for a reason. But they wanted to keep saying Russia involvement with Trump. The Democrats were so angry with Trump because Trump didn't value their LGBTQ policies. The United States had funded this group of women called the Band. This is their name, and they funded them after they went into the churches and were desecrating the churches. Russia said, "Oh no, you're going to jail. You can't play the LGBTQ card in Russia," and that's why the Democrats hate Russia. You notice that Russia has the gas, but they don't want to buy from Russia because Russia's not fitting in to this global leftist environment. They're not fitting in. They don't like the homosexuals. They're the Eastern witness. There are two witnesses in the Bible. There's the Eastern and the Western. All we've been hearing all these years is the Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, or all the Protestants or whatever. But you never hear too much about the Greek Orthodox and the Russian Orthodox. There's only two branches, Greek Orthodox and Russian Orthodox. They're the same. Same thing, same teaching. That they hate Russia because Russia still is tied to the church. This is really what is the undercurrent. Russia throws out the LGBTQs. When this group was playing games at the Sochi Olympics, they tried to play games. Putin sent the Cossacks there, or the Cossacks knew to look out for people like that, and they whipped them. And the United States was outraged. You know what the United States did with this group of people? They honored them with Madonna. Where? At the Barclay in Brooklyn. Barclay Center or something in Brooklyn. They had a concert for them, and they honored them because they're standing up for the LGBTQ, the leftist Democrat agenda. The same people wanted to take out Trump. We cannot sustain, and look what Russia did. Russia is making them pay in rubles now. Their economy is going to get bigger, while the United States is going to, and all the Western leftist, organized, LGBTQ-loving countries are going to pay astronomical prices to get their manufacturing done. These LGBTQ agendas is actually going to be the downfall of the United States. And these people are usually woke, usually leftist, and usually chaos. If you have these people working in your company, you're going to fail. Because all these people are going to do is they're going to be like a spreading disease that's not going to do anything. If you own a corporation, get rid of them. You own a business, get rid of them. You don't need them because no matter what they're going to destroy, they're going to be the rotting part of your business. They're not the get things done type people. Now, a couple of months ago, or about a year ago or so, I spoke about, I make pencil-related products, but there's something else I make. I make something called Shark Tooth, and there's a purpose for this, because this just happened yesterday. It's a sharpening compound. Okay? And I had developed this about 6 years ago, and it is absolutely spectacular works. It takes a knife, and it puts like a tiny micro abrasion, like a serration, like a shark's tooth. This is how a shark's tooth is. And this is like incredibly good to cut. Now, I'm not talking about that here to promote this, but what happens is, in Facebook groups, there's something called knife sharpening and restoration. And I put a small video about this, and one of the moderators deleted my video. And then when speaking to the moderator, can already tell that he's watched these other videos of mine, and he is pro LGBTQ, and he just didn't want to communicate. He did not want to solve the potential infraction that had done by posting the video. I was supposed to ask them first, you're in these forums, you don't always do things right. Fine, let's find a way to fix it. They don't want to do it. Because this guy, who's one of the moderators, is from Hawaii. And by being from Hawaii, it's like New York. It's the same thinking. So they kicked me off. Now, what if my sharpening compound is the best of the best, and it actually does do exactly what I'm saying it does? That is not important to the leftist woke agenda. They're like crabs in a bucket. What they do is that they're not going to have houses. The American dream is not going to happen for them, So the only thing that they got to do now is use social media and social action, and the power that someone can have with that could be absolutely astronomical. But they're getting so caught up in identity politics. But why identity? Because remember, they're the very small, and then there's the very big. So you could say this is the big ego, and this is the no ego. No ego. At the extreme is, you could say, fascism, because for them to have the identity, it's a group identity. It's a group identity. So for them, what's important then, for them not having a head, is to destroy anything that has a head, whether it be they're not going after the big, but they're going after anybody that's here. Because these people love people like Elon Musk. They love people like Bill Gates, because to them, for them, that's God is there. But they hate anybody here. And the reason why they hate the people in the middle, because the people in the middle is attainable. That's the point. These people hate what they can attain. When someone talks about Elon Musk, he's up in the clouds, billionaire, right? So that's not attainable. And these people are okay with that. They can worship the non-attainable. But they will hate the attainable, because this person shows them their failings by their mere existence. Someone who's in the truth, and even if they're not fully in the truth, but someone that you would normally consider a good person. So they could be lying a bit too, but still, they are seen as a good person. They got somewhat of their life together. This person is hated by these people. If this person has a small business and you got 2 or 3 of these cancers, I hate to say cancer, I'll say something else, diseases inside your business, they will destroy it. These people are where they are because they're the ones drilling a hole in their own boat that they're standing in. They drill a hole through their own boat, and that's why when you look at how chaos operates, something comes into existence, it pops out of existence. It's like the crabs in the bucket. When you get down here, this is the crabs in the bucket. They will not let you succeed. They will pull you down unless you're one of them. Now, when this happened to me with the knife sharpening and restoration, it's funny, even in their things, they want to promote people learning stuff. But what if my product is the best in the world? Actually, it is, but that's not really the issue. What if it was? The prejudice about their identity politics keeps them in ignorance. Because why am I saying this? Is because the knife community is always looking for the next thing to make their knives sharper. Sharper, 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 sharper. You know, it's like a sickness. You know, they want to cut paper all day. They just like sharp knives. Now that's okay. I mean, we're not talking about people that want to go chop people up. You know, don't get me wrong. The knife community is not like that. They just like knives, and it's fine. And here's even funnier. So they just delete my video 2 or 3 days later, and there's 2 moderators. We'll call moderator A and moderator B. And moderator B is the guy who canceled me. No, moderator A, let's say, canceled me. And he owns a business. And what does this guy do in his business? He sells belts, okay? Let's say he sells belts. Okay. So what moderator B did is that he made a video about that guy's belts. Okay, so this moderator, and again, this is a leftist thinking now. Remember, this guy made sure he got rid of me because of the LGBTQ. I'm positive. So, you see the conflict of interest? This moderator is promoting a video that's talking about this guy's products, but my sharpening video is bad. These people now are creating a circle of I know it's not a big deal, but this is how this works inside companies. This is how social media works. And a lot of these big companies, they don't have the fortitude to just fire all these people. You got to get rid of them. You got to get my business. I don't want these losers in my business. They get so caught up in the identity politics for me, for my business. They're so caught up with my identity politics. Michael's bad. He's got to. But meanwhile, they're doing a conflict of interest here. Moderators should not be promoting other moderators inside some sort of forum with 11,000 members. Why? Because this is a financial interest for these people, just like it's a financial interest for me. You know, it's not that I'm, promoting my knife sharpening thing because of some wonderful thing. I, want to sell it. But this is what the leftists do. They'll block out something good, or potentially good, let's just put it that there, for identity politics. This is going to happen everywhere. This is in politics. This is in your corporations. It is everywhere. And this is going to destroy and bring society to a screeching halt. And let me go back to Russia for a second. You want to see everything stop? Germany has to pull up their loins and buy Russian gas. And not only buy Russian gas, buy lots of it. Now, why is that so important? Because NATO wants to have the division between Germany and Russia. But if Germany is Russia's customer, there's no need for NATO. There's no need for NATO if Germany is Russia's customer. Why? Because Russia is not going to attack a paying customer. These two will be in peace to maintain the gas and profit supply. NATO will be disbanded. The only purpose of NATO is to sell U.S. military goods and for the U.S. to undermine potential competitors. You see, the gas profits that Russia makes in Europe went crazy after the Fukushima, and the United States had no way of getting it. So they tried to do the coup d'etat, but this is all these under-the-table deals to keep you in prison. It's just a little larger than a social network or a little larger than a corporation. Germany's virtue signaling is backed by the United States' greed. But if Germany buys that gas from Russia, Russia's not going to bother Germany. Russia's not going to bother anybody if they're making all they cared about was making the profits. Ukraine was because the U.S. needed to provoke Russia into a conflict. Putin knew this. To provoke Russia into a conflict so that, again, the U.S. pressured Germany not to buy the Russian gas. But you, as a citizen of anywhere in Europe, you now don't take a shower. Don't take showers. And that's what happens when you do identity politics. They do not like the fact that Russia does not like homosexuals. That's why the Democrats go crazy. Because they can't do their agenda in Russia. If you step back and look and you always follow the money. Always follow the money. Who is making the money and who is going to be losing the money in whatever's happening. Because this is the God of the evil, of the liars. Because the liars have to sacrifice the truth for money. Just like, the forum that I was kicked out of, there was a financial interest to keep me out, keep me down. But really, it was the LGBTQ politics within. And this is a corruption that's everywhere. You're not going to be able to get rid of this unless you start speaking the truth, and you have to sacrifice yourself. You have to lay down your life for the truth. And that's what Jesus talks about. He laid down his life for the sheep. You have to sacrifice your will, your identity for the truth, and you will be blessed. Or else you're going to be caught up in this madness. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring you into chaos. Because the left hand, most people's left hand, is not your right hand, and it's not the technical doing hand. It's your right hand. But we have two hands. The right hand can be tyrannical, and the left hand can be chaos. I know this is a big video. Covers a lot of stuff, but we are definitely in the time of the feminine. With this time in the feminine, the spirit of truth will come up right now. This is the time. And when the spirit of the truth comes, those that are in the head will come down, and those that are underground will come up. Not all, but a few. So the best thing for us to do is be in the truth and don't let this woke mentality in. Don't justify it. Convict it at every chance you get. God bless.